assume at some point in your trading journey, you've probably taken signals, or at least, had a look at some of the free groups, or maybe even taken some that your friends have sent you. I think that's something that a lot of new traders do when they first get into the game of trading, right? It's a very common thing, the whole earn while you learn approach that people take. But I think Forex signals do more damage than good, especially at the start of your trading. And in fact, I feel like it can either slow down or lead to you quitting, maybe in a situation or in a different world where you wouldn't have. And I wanted to go through a bit more about this today as to why I think, signals aren't always the best idea, why they cause problems, things like that. So firstly is exactly that, the whole earn while you learn mentality. And the reason is, I think when you look at Forex, how much work and dedication it takes to, put into it, thousands of hours back testing on the charts, collecting data, analyzing data, that kind of all goes out the window with that mindset of, oh, it's okay, I can earn while I learn, and I can just make money on the side. And I feel like you kind of have to earn the right to almost make money in Forex. You have to do the time, you have to do the practice to actually get anywhere. And so that principle, I think, is not the best way to go by. But on top of that, you'll actually find that you'll start with that mindset, but over time, especially if you are in, maybe a better Forex signals group, you'll just lean more towards the signals. You won't actually be bothered to learn, because why would you? You're earning money in this signals group, it's making you money. It wouldn't make sense to sit there for 10,000 hours backtesting something when you could just copy the trades. But the problem is, if that group is to close, become more expensive, change for whatever reason, like a lot of these groups do, then you're left with nothing, because you no longer have access to those signals, but you also haven't been spending time actually learning Forex. But on the other side, you've got someone that maybe didn't take signals, didn't, trade like that, and spent all that time learning, and now they're far further ahead of you in your trading journey. So that earn while you learn, I don't like kind of the message it sends out, because it's basically telling you, be lazy, just take the trades I take, don't bother actually doing much work yourself, and you can do it that way. And another thing that kind of comes off the back of that is how easy and simple these Forex gurus sort of make it seem. All you have to do to be a millionaire nowadays is copy and paste their trades into your MT4, MT5 or whatever, and suddenly you're going to be the best Forex trader in the world. And I'm surprised it doesn't offend sort of more traders that have spent so much time, because imagine if you have, spent all that time to become profitable, and then you've got some guy sat in Dubai on Instagram telling you that all you have to do to be super rich in Forex is copy and paste their signal, and suddenly, you're gonna make it in Forex. So I think the foundations that they're built of is really, really poor, and it doesn't encourage the right kind of trader. Now, on the flip side of that, where most of the signal groups lie, is you kind of have these really, really poor ones, these not so good signal groups, whether they be paid or free. And the free ones are sometimes worse, because they'll get you to join, use their broker, place a certain amount of lot size, and then they get paid out by the broker in commission. And so they don't really care what trades they send out. The minute you give them that commission, it doesn't matter how the signals go, because you're not paying for that at the end of the day. You're paying, or they're getting paid by the broker for you to use them. So some of the signal quality is really, really bad. And imagine if you're, a new trader, someone getting into trading, and that's kind of your first impression of the Forex industry, of the Forex market. I think it really sets a bad precedent for everyone in this space, because you come in, you either join a free or a paid group, the signals aren't good, you lose all your money, and that's your first impression. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to call it a scam, quit, and move on to something else. And it's a shame, because there's a lot of, good traders out there that some do signals, some don't, that kind of, get lumped in with that crowd, even though it's a completely almost separate industry, as I like to see it. And so you're not actually learning anything by taking signals. You're not doing anything. You have no autonomy. You're not going to the charts, looking at a strategy, building your own strategy, looking at your own edge, even sitting on the charts necessarily. You don't even have to do that. You just have to copy and paste some of these signals. And let me just tell you, some of these signals I've seen on, you know, Instagram or in groups I used to be in, you know, back at the start, they were awful. I kid you not, I saw someone have 1,000 pip SL and a 20 pip TP just so that they can say on their Instagram or in their group that they made profit for the day. But when you genuinely look at that you're risking 1,000 pips to make 20 pips of profit, any real trader, anyone that knows risk reward will see how sort of teed up that is to just implode at any point. You need one loss and your whole account will basically be gone. So some of these strategies, if you could call it that, are really, really poor. But again, new traders don't know this. When they come into the markets, they don't know what a good or a bad signal is. They probably don't even know what a stop loss or a TP is. And so they're not going to know that. And that's kind of what these signal groups rely on, is that a lot of the times when you do get into Forex, the first thing, you know, you see is these signal groups. And so you join, you obviously lose money. And as I said, you either quit or you decide not to do that. Now, I was quite lucky, I guess, that I didn't really, you know, get caught up in signals. I didn't buy any. I had the occasional ones sent from my friends, but I never really took them because in my head, I always thought, it's me that wants to be trading in the future, not relying off someone else. And that goes back to what I said earlier, is that if you want to be a trader in the long run, which you should only be doing Forex for that goal, really, in my opinion, if you want that, you're never going to be able to just live off someone else's trades. Because as I said, if they change group or something happens, then you lose their signals. So the goal is to be your own trader, to be able to do it by yourself. And if you become reliant on these groups, that's never going to happen. And as I said, it actually sets you further back than someone that doesn't take these groups. So I think it's an interesting topic. I think it's a good debate to have, because I think there is a time and a place for signals. And I think, you know, there are some good groups out there, but the majority or most of these signal groups I really would not recommend. But let me know what your experience was. Have you used signals before? If so, did you win with it? Did you lose with it? What was your experience? Because as I said, I didn't really get too involved in them, so I'm interested to hear. But ultimately, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.